working with cloud hands. If we start stationary, to work on hip turn, alignment of the body and arms. So hang out from the string, weight through the feet. Spine is long and dangling. Release the abdomen. Shoulders sit right on top of the rib cage. Throughout the entire movement, shoulders are sitting even as the arms move and lift. Shoulders are sitting straight down. Hip turn. Make sure the knees are bent and the knee is directly over the foot. So just working with that hip turn and weight shift. We shift the weight and turn the hip to the front corner. Not anymore, because then you're twisting both the waist and the knee. So just to your front 45 degrees at most. Shift the weight and turn just to your front diagonal. So feet are parallel, knees bent, over the feet. Shift the weight and turn the hips your front diagonal, not over here, just your front 45 degrees. As you hang from the string, you breathe into the abdomen. Release down the foot or press down that leg to send the weight and turn the hips. Press down that leg to shift the weight and turn the hips. As you hang out. 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, you want to roll the elbows forward so that you're not in close and tight. It closes off the shoulder joints and the rest of the body. So you want this nice and open, nice big shape. Small and tight, so we want to avoid that. It's open and spacious. Rolling the elbows forward, sitting the shoulders. Releasing down the leg or pressing down to shift the weight and turn the hips. Pressing down, shift the weight and turn the hips. And the turning of the hips drives the arms. To there. So that's shifting, pressing down, shifted the weight and turn the hips. That got the arms to here, to the side. Now to have them continue and start going in the other direction, again I press down so my body is pushed across and my hip is pushed into that turn. So pressing down this side sends the body and the arms just naturally out here to the side. Then I release or press down this leg, sending the hips and weight that direction, and the arms are included with that movement. So that hip turn and weight shift, I've got my arms to the other side. To have them continue to switch places and continue back the other way, that's a matter of pressing down, releasing down to send the weight and the hips the other way. If you have more experience, there's a sense of sitting into the quad, sitting into the hip. Sinking and sitting grounds you and the ground pushes back. So having drifted here, I sink down, press down, sit into the hip, sit into the quad. That sends the weight and the hip turn. And the arms are part of the body, they're just one unit, so they come with the body. Press down the leg, sit into the hip. That sends the body and hip turn the other direction. Hanging from the string, weight through the feet. Pay particular attention that your knees stay open from each other. So watch out for this collapsation here. Collapsing. So we want the knee to stay over that respective foot. So there's a sense of knees repelling away from each other, Real sense of openness between the knees and legs. Press down and or sit into this quad, or this hip. That sends the weight and the hips this way, and therefore the arms. To about there. Now, a release, press down here. It sends everything the other way. So the shoulders can completely sit and rest because they're not involved. The arms, the shoulders are not doing the movement. All that is happening is this. And hanging out will allow you to have more contact with the ground to give you a more efficient push across. So the arms are not doing that action, so the shoulders can completely rest throughout. Hang from the string, release the abdomen. With the tailbone pointing straight down towards the ground, so the lower back is virtually straight and flat. Push the chin in or push the back of the neck back, so also the back of the neck is virtually straight. Release the abdomen. Release down, press down, sending everything the other way. Release down, press down, sending everything the other way. So you're not coming back, you're not using your arms to come back, you're not shifting your weight back, you're not throwing your body back. Releasing down that leg, pressing down that leg and hip, sends you back the other way. All this now is just drifting because of that initial action. Drifting till I'm all the way over to this side, then pressing down the other leg and hip to send me the other way. Avoid any leaning, any tilting, hanging straight down through the legs. And again, that takes the shoulders out of the equation. Let the shoulders relax, release, and open, so the arms could be nice and long and soft. Just as in our regular Qigong standing, you want this virtually straight, this virtually straight, string at the top of the head towards the back, or pushing the chin in, or the crown of the head floating straight up, tailbone hanging long with gravity. Elbows are well in front, and always a slight bend in the elbows. Not locking an elbow out, not locking an elbow out. That creates tightness and tension. Elbows gently rounded, shoulders completely sitting right on top of the rib cage. Nice, big, spacious shape. Nice, big, generous shape. Cloud hand sequence. From single whip to single whip. Square. Hang out. Weight through the feet, breath in the belly. Pressing down, releasing down, sends the weight to the right. Let's do it just with the leg movement and the weight shift. Releasing, pressing down, sends the weight back. Bring the foot in, half a step, even, parallel. Release down the left leg to send your weight into the right. Sitting into this hip, sinking down, brings this knee up. Releasing down, continue to press down, sends the weight to the left and turns the hip. Sinking further, sitting further, pops the right leg up. Press down again to send the weight and the hips to the right. Sit into the quad, the hip waist, to lift the opposite leg. Full step. Press down again to send the weight in the hips. Sit into the quad or the hip waist to lift the leg in. Try to minimize any leaning or tilting and have a vertical drop of the weight straight down that leg and hip. Knees stay directly over the feet. Avoid the hanging, the tilting. Hang straight down, weight through that leg and hip. To your front diagonal. Release, press down, send the hip and the weight. And square, hang out, relax outwardly. Release or press down, send the weight and the hips to the right. Until your left foot is pointing straight to the front wall. Release down the right leg and hip. Sit into the left hip to bring in the right foot. Release down, descends you to the right. Sit into the right leg and hip to lift the left leg. Sit and release down to lift the right leg. Pressing down sends the weight to the right and hips to the right diagonal, the right corner. Shoulders are down and the shoulders are out of the equation. It's your legs and hips. Lower back is flat, back of the neck is flat and straight and long. Shoulders completely sitting. Knees directly over the feet. The nose and belly button are in one line. So you're turning your head with the body turn. Eyes are out towards the horizon. Eyes, nose, and belly button are in line. Take your time for the step. Don't rush the step. You don't want it to be an empty step. Take your time to peel off the foot and do the actual stepping. So don't be in a hurry to step. Sitting, sinking, peels off that foot and eventually propels the step. So take your time, almost like the leg and foot are sticky and they're not leaving the ground easily or quickly. So you want that step to be nice and full, a feeling of fullness and intention, not light and empty. If that was the end of the cloud hand step, hips are to the front corner, left corner, sinking into the left hip, brings in the foot, half a step, dropping the heel, 45 degrees, hips stay to the corner, hands slide down. Touching down, now we're ready to square the hips. Squaring the hips, going from the corner to squaring, sends the arms out. I want to watch that as you square the hips, that the right knee doesn't travel too much and come inside the right foot. So as best you can, you keep that right knee over that right foot for good alignment for that knee. So from hips to the corner to squaring, sends the arms out. Keep the right knee over the right foot. Open the hips to the corner for the step. And then shifting forward and squaring the hips. Again, that's coming from that back leg. Square allows a full long step. Pressing down to send the weight forward and the hips forward, and that drives the left arm. Hang out, square, relax out, press down to send you back. Press down, it sends you the other way. Sit, bring in the other leg. Press down to send you to the right. Sit, sink to lift the left leg. Hang out, release the abdomen, the shoulder joints, release and open. Elbows are flowing away from the body. Let the ground be the source of your power for movement, and the ground being the source for the hip turn. And that will drive the arms. Eyes are out towards the horizon. So outward and slightly down. Hips to the corner, foot lands 45 degrees, shift the weight back, hips stay to the corner, touch down squaring, opening to the corner for the full step, release down the right leg to square the hips and advance the weight forward. When you come forward, notice if there's any leaning forward, there's a tendency to come forward with the upper body. So don't think of the upper body advancing forward. Think of the weight shift as just shifting the weight from the back leg to the front leg. So when you come forward, you're sinking the weight down the front hip, down the front leg. If you don't have that sense, there's going to be, even if you're doing a fairly good dynamic, sourcing the movement by pressing down that back leg, and that shifts the weight forward and turns the hip square, will tend to be having the body, upper body, lurching forward and being thrown forward. So rather than thinking of shifting the upper body forward, you're going to simply shift the weight from the back leg down the front leg. And that will tend to minimize or prevent any lurching or leaning forward with the upper body. You simply sifting the sand from the back leg down into the front leg. Sifting the sand from one leg into the other. This leg is full of sand. It starts to sift over and drift over into the other hip and leg. Upper body is not involved.